Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Soul Search. I am Polly Harnett.
I am Jane Morton.
Patricia Whitbourn, special guest today.
A special guest. This is a new thing for us, isn't it? These special guests. Very honoured to have you, Pat. So tell us a little bit about yourself quickly before we start.
Yes, well, my name's Patricia Whitbourn, not known as Pat, and I'm based in Portsmouth, and I'm a tarot reader. And you lovely ladies are my teachers in my spiritual development.
We certainly are. And
We
honoured
are.
to have you.
You asked on as your first guest today. Really looking
We're breaking you
we hope
into
you're our
everything
first
now, aren't
guest,
we,
Pat.
Pat?
you up.
We hope it goes out and it works and you're our first guest, because
That's right. Yeah.
Jane, the producer, come technology, techie, whatever I am in the background, is really no good at this.
But
So we'll see.
we're all here for the shits and giggles, and it's all going to be good and fun. It's all going to be good fun, isn't it?
It is.
So, guys, we are going to be talking today about superstitions. Now, the reason why this one popped up is because obviously you see things on Facebook, don't you? But there's things that we've grown up with superstitious wise or superstition wise. Some people are really superstitious and some people really aren't and think it's a complete load of codswallop, don't they? But yeah, the New Year one, bearing in mind we're just into the new year, into January, aren't we? And there was loads of posts this year about remember not to put your washing on, remember not to, was it the floors?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's a new one to
apparently
me.
in superstition law, if you do your washing on New Year's Day, you're washing away the luck for the year, right? Now, what do you think about that, guys? Did you do washing on New Year's Day? Sorry, I can't get my words out.
Well, I personally didn't do washing on New Year's Day, although I must say there's only two superstitions that I'm really sort of aware of. I mean, the others, like walking under a ladder, all that, I don't even think anything of that. And funnily enough, although you should say that, is because my mum always used to say you don't wash on New Year's Day because you wash all that thing away. I literally do not wash on New Year's Day because she said that. And you think that's all those years ago. It's just something that's just sort of stuck with me. But that was her main one. So yeah, believe it or not, I still to this day don't wash on New Year's Day.
Do you believe that there'd be bad luck?
No, I think it's like anything. I at the end of the day, if I did it, it was no big deal. But I just think because I've been brought up with it and she was so like, you really mustn't do that and you really will bring bad luck. It's just stuck with me. That's all really. But I don't really believe in superstitions, if I'm honest. Okay. Yeah. Because
Okay. So, Jane, what do you think? Do you believe in that?
Same as Pat, because my nan used to say it. She lived with us, and then my other nan, my dad's mum, used to say it. It stuck in my head, so it's something that's been. It's more something I think that's been planted in your head. Also, normally I wouldn't want to get up and do washing on New Year's Day.
I didn't want to do anything on New Year's Day.
But I've thought about this. Of course, I've probably done washing on New Year's Day, because when you've got young children, at some point at Christmas, as we all know, they get ill.
yeah.
I bet somewhere over those 36 years of being a mum, I have washed on New Year's Day, especially if someone's been sick. I'm not going to leave it there and go, oh, I'll leave that drying out in the washing machine and then I'll put it on.
To be fair, I'm so sick phobic that if somebody was sick, the whole quilt, duvet and cover would be going in a dustbin bag and I'd buy a new one. That's how sick phobic I am.
Well, if it was a horrible sick, yeah, the quilt would have to go. But the washing the floor, that was a new one. I think it was Kate that put that up on her feng shui stuff. And I thought, oh no, I've washed my floor.
Yeah. I've never heard the floor one.
No, and obviously I'd wash my bathroom if it needed clean, especially if I've had loads of people around all Christmas. And as you know, we've talked about this before, my Christmas used to be busy with 2-3 birthdays at one point over the Christmas and New Year. House full of kids and grandkids. There's no way I wouldn't have washed my floor or washed my bathroom. So it's only ever been don't put your washing on New Year's Day, nothing else. I think people have added to it over the years, surely.
I think people, I guess there's other people's superstitions that have added on to that, if that makes sense. Like somebody's mother, your mother-in-law used to say this and then it gets stuck on, doesn't it? And another bit got stuck on. But I mean, it's funny because I hadn't even heard of this until about 2 years ago. And I'd put on Facebook, right, that I think my partner had gone to Spain this particular New Year. And I did put the washing on, right, because I had nothing to do, right? So I put the washing on, and I also cleaned my car inside and out, right? And took the Christmas tree down. I cleaned everything. I can honestly say it wasn't any crapper than any other year I've ever had. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was one of those things, and I put it on Facebook. You know, I'm pretty proud of myself that I'd been so busy. And then it was literally, I was bombarded with people telling me, "You don't wash anything on New Year's Day," and I was like, "Since when? Right? Since
Forever.
when has that been a thing?"
So, I mean, just remind people where you come from. It's not that far up north.
From the Midlands. I mean, in the Midlands, my mother never said that. You know what I mean? She'd never told me that. And
It's got to
to
be
be
us.
honest,
It's got to be our softy soft Southerners, then, isn't it?
maybe. But I think, well, I mean, it's like there's things in every country, isn't there? In every culture where they're, especially some quite religious cultures, they will be very on it. And it's funny because I can't go on my phone now because I'm on it now. But just before we came on, I was having a little look about like common superstitions in certain places, and there's some bizarre ones. You're not allowed to have your thumb showing when you pass a cemetery. That was in one.
Really?
Think it was in Afghanistan. That if you were brooming a home, if the broom touched somebody's feet, it meant they were going to die.
My goodness.
Um, there was ones like that when you think, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is like extreme. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, what a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's all these people that are believing that if they walk underneath a ladder,
Yeah.
or if they, I don't know, a black cat crosses their path, which is actually an American thing that they're bad luck, not an English thing. The old English things used to be if a one crossed your path, it was good luck.
Good.
But because I guess people watch so many American films and American things, they would see it as bad luck. And it's really sad for the fact that in every single rescue centre in this country, that the ones that they struggle to rehome are black cats because they're associated with witches and they're associated with being bad luck crossing your path.
What's wrong with witches? I mean, come on, there's three of us here. What is wrong with witches?
Well, I do spells all the time, so you can honestly put me in the witch category. I'm certainly not in a coven. Not that I've got anything about that. I just like to do things my way. But you think about that poor cat, which is like a nice little soul, you know what I mean? And so adorable. And apart from at the moment, I've always had black cats, always. I've
Yeah.
always been attracted to black cats and always since a little girl. The first cats we had
Don't you
were.
think it's not just the fact they're black either? Do you not think that a lot of people, when they're scared of cats, that's where that comes from as well? Because there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't like cats," or "Oh, horrible cats," but actually, that's probably more of a fear of them, and that again comes from that witchy, that black thing, and then they associate all cats, so it doesn't matter what colour they are. It starts with black, and then it sort of spreads that cats are just associated with, spell work and stuff like that.
But then you've got well, I can't remember what country it is. Help me. Where they honour cats. Pyramids.
Yeah, a
Egypt.
lot of Egypt honour cats.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
when I was in India back in January last year, they don't like cats, and I said to you, there was Bengals, there was Persians, there was Siamese, all walking the street as homeless cats, and I was thinking, God, scoop them up, you make a
Yeah.
killing, Bucko.
Mm.
They don't like them. They don't like them in the house. They think they're bad luck. So yeah, there is a few countries that will honour them, but the majority of the countries still see them as not very, and yet they are very highly intelligent creatures.
Highly.
What about the number 13?
Pat, you answer this one.
Yeah, no, number 13, that's absolutely fine with me. I don't really, I know they say unlucky for some. I only really hear that at the bingo, really. But apart from that, that not for me at all. 13 doesn't matter at all. No, not at all. What about you?
About Friday the 3rd.
Yeah, but again, now Friday the 13th, not so much, I mean, certainly not now, it doesn't really enter my head. But back in the day when there was the Friday the 13th films and everything, which it was the horror films, wasn't it? And used to instill, and certainly I was, quite young when we was watching them. So again, it was depicted on the film and everything, Friday the 13th, and it was scary and bad things happens and whatever. So when I was younger and watching those films, maybe I shouldn't have been watching them so young, I did for quite a while think, Friday the 13th, oh, that's really unlucky and whatever. But it's like anything. You grow up, you get past it. It was a film. I've moved on.
It's actually one of my favourite numbers.
It's one of my favourite numbers as well.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's nothing. It don't mean it's not favourite. It's not scary. It's just a number.
I remember when I bought my lodge and it was number 13, and everyone said, well, and a lady opposite me in the other little road in that holiday park said to me, I've taken the 13 down and I've put 13A or something. And I looked at her and went, oh, right. Okay. Because it is number 13. We all had different little roads in that thing, and if you were 13 in whatever part of it, you were 13. So it's funny how. And she also said to me, "Oh, you do holistic and spiritual work, don't you?" And I went, "Yeah." How do you know? But obviously, I used to have plates on my car then, and I thought, "Oh yeah, that's." That's a dead giveaway as I'm driving into the private gates. And she said, I'm a Reiki person. I do this and I do that. And I was really shocked that she then said to me, I cannot have 13 anywhere near me. Because I really think that, like you said, not just getting older, but when you get into your spiritual path, and obviously, Polly, you've been doing it years, but me and Pat, who have known each other for a long, long time, certainly weren't into this at a young age, even though we probably were, but didn't tell people or what, but we've come back into it later in our life. And, Pat you've hit the ground running, haven't you?
Yeah.
It is weird because nothing about the superstitions or all that silly stuff really bothers me at all. If I'm not scared of death, which sounds a bit doom and gloom, but we're not, are we? When we're more spiritual, we're more open to what's out there.
I don't
Why
want
on
it to
earth would I?
hurt.
Well, no, I don't want to. Yeah, well, I
But
don't want
that,
it to
but
my
that,
family. To be honest, I don't care. Look, hang on. Talk about the spirit, and all of a sudden there was my nose going. It used to twitch when we used to do our SPTV shows. I mean, I don't, to be honest, it's more about the people you leave behind that worries me, not so much me. But why would you worry about a black cat walking under ladders or the number
Yeah.
13? Why would that be such? So it's interesting, these fear-based sort of
Yeah.
situations that you grow up with. I mean, horror films I sort of get to a degree. Like you said, when you're young and watching when you shouldn't be, and we've
Yeah.
all done that,
Yeah.
that's bound to play on your mind. If there was a film with a big black cat, you'd start. I mean, look at it, the clown. It ends with a great big spider, which is one of my pet hates. That's one of my
Yeah.
biggest fears, spiders. And they're associated with witches.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Superstitious about them. I just wish they wouldn't come in my house because they've got 8 legs and those 8 legs just give me the creeps.
Yeah.
So my part, or did you know for one thing that in Spain, it's actually Tuesday the 13th, which is bad luck to them.
It's really.
It
On a
is.
Tuesday.
You've been
And
doing a lot of research today, Polly, haven't you?
yeah,
Tuesday.
I have.
Or did
Yeah,
Jose
me.
give you that one?
No, I read it online and it's a thing. And Spanish people are actually very superstitious. And Jose's biggest one, again, I'd never heard of. I've heard of all I'll explain the ones that I grew up with in a moment. It was like, this is another first timer for me, is not putting new shoes on a table.
I've heard
Right.
that.
I have heard that one actually, and I did used to do that very,
I
Yeah.
don't get it. And I still put nude shoes on the table. Nothing happened. You know what I mean? And if it did happen, it's not because I put shoes on a table. It's because it was going to happen anyway. That sort of thing.
Probably because I spent my youth buying a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
A lot of shoes, yeah. Because especially when I put weight on, they were the only thing that always fitted. Them and handbags, they matched lovely. I didn't have to worry about what was in between. But yeah, so my mum used to do the new shoes on the table. She used to go mad about it.
I'm really sorry,
yeah.
but my unlucky cat is trying to get into the picture. No, he's not unlucky. He's not black, but he's even if it was black, he's still not unlucky. Look at this little right. You're lovely, but you're not invited.
But it's funny you say, Jane, about your mum again saying about with the shoes on the table that like Polly'd never heard of and that. Because again, my mum said that. And I really do think it's like anything with your upbringing. If you're brought up with these sayings and these things, you just sort of believe it until you sort of get older and realise no. And also, when you're saying about the number 13, I'm sure that I've heard that certain, I don't know if it's necessarily when they build new houses or whatever, but quite often there's not a 13 sort of thing.
I have heard that as well.
Yeah, so it just goes to show. And the main thing is where do these come from? Where do these superstitions even originate?
I do think, like Pat said, if you actually did a lot of research on it, I think still some of it comes from America. And I'm not dissing our American friends because we have quite a few of them. But I do think they are the most superstitious culture I've ever come across.
Okay.
After reading those facts today, I disagree. Some of them are
Well, yeah, but
extreme.
to be fair, I mean, they've cut out 13 floors. They don't have the 13th floor.
Yes, that's right. Or on a lift. Yeah, on a
Yeah.
lift. Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, maybe that would be something we can go away and do. If
Yeah, I think
when
it would
people
be
watch this,
interesting. I mean,
they can let us know.
growing up, my biggest one, right? And obviously, I lived in the Midlands. There was a lot of land. It's all fields,
Yeah.
right? And I had my horse, and me and my friend Lisa used to go like gallivanting off on our ponies for hours and hours and hours and hours. But it's always the chant of the one, like the magpies, the one for sorrow,
Yeah.
two for joy, three for a girl, four for a boy, five for silver, six for gold, seven for a secret never to be told, all that. Anyway,
Right.
so if you see one magpie, you've got to salute it, right? And I don't know if you guys do it, but I still do
No,
it now,
No.
even if it's in my head, right? But I just always remember being out with a friend, right? And it was a relatively new friend from school at the time, at secondary school, right? And I used to like go, morning, Mr. Magpie, good afternoon, Mr. Magpie, evening, Mr. Magpie, whatever it was in the day. And then she just went, at noon, like that. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I remember it made me laugh so hard. I was like, what? What did you say? We were
no. The
dying.
magpies have never bothered me. I mean, I laugh at them. If I see two, I smile because I know if I'm seeing two, somebody else is behind me in the car or something like that seeing two. But I mean, birds are birds to me. It's like crows, isn't it? People see crows and they start freaking out.
I love
When
a
I
crow.
moved into my
Yeah.
lodge, I had 5 crows, always 5, that used to sit on the porch facing me. Then they'd go up on the roof, and you'd hear them tippy tapping across the roof.
They're
When
just
I
getting
first
ready to
moved,
peck your eyes out.
yeah, but they don't bother me. And when I moved into this house, 5 crows appeared in my garden one day and one day only, and then they were gone.
Wow.
So I
Especially
find all
if you,
birds are spiritual, so don't find,
I mean, birds are spiritual.
yeah.
So
So crows don't bother me. Magpies and that silly song don't bother me. And like I said, if I was truthful, the superstitions, the old wives' tales, as we would have called them, is the shoes on the table and the don't wash on New Year's Day because you'll wash
yeah.
your life away. But anything else, I mean, walking under ladders. I walked round a ladder once, and no kidding you, but then actually this is how my life goes. I walked round a ladder because it was quite a tight road anyway, and I thought, oh, I'm going round that. And the bloke dropped his mastic gun and a bucket, and it actually bounced down and landed at me anyway. So if I'd walked under it, would he have fell on me? Who knows? But walking round it, I copped his stuff.
But this is you, Jane.
It is me. I mean, I literally leave a trail of
You
destruction behind me anyway, as we all know. But
missed
yeah,
me.
so but what about drains? My children, because obviously then there's different generations. My older children used to say about not treading on drains. They used to walk to school and not tread on the drains.
Yeah.
I went, what?
I
I never did that. I never heard of that.
a new one.
Pat,
Mm.
if
Yeah.
so, I know this isn't like necessarily a superstition.
Mm.
However, being a spiritual person, is there
Mm.
any rituals that you have that you do on a spiritual level that you feel is almost like if you don't do it, you're not doing it properly? That sort of thing, like a little ritual.
I mean, the only rituals I do is before and after tarot readings. That is it. Obviously, the first one is like bringing in the protection and everything like that. Because if I didn't do that, if for whatever reason I forgot to do it, which is highly unlikely because it's so ingrained in my brain, I would be like. So, say for example, I hadn't done it, and I'd go to start a reading. I'd immediately that would worry me because I would be, oh my God, I haven't put the protection around me. I'm leaving myself open and whatever. So that is definitely a ritual. And then obviously at the end, the closing down and everything like that. So that is something I do religiously, put the protection around me and closing down at the end. So but I'd say I don't have rituals like during the day about anything. I don't even, except for maybe although that didn't quite work when we was on our spiritual retreat on the way home in Jane's car.
See, even then I got into trouble.
But I put for travel as well. I put protection around me for travel. So I use the protection. The more spiritual I've become, the more I use the protection, like all the time, really, for friends animals and everything like that as well. Not obviously just myself, family, and that. So they're like my main ones, you know. But I don't know quite happened with Jane. But there you go.
Well, let's be fair. I think that little accident we had on the way home wasn't too bad because my car wasn't that badly damaged. It was only the alloyed wheel, even though it was an expensive wheel. And his car was a lot more damaged, and it was his fault. And like I said, I think we probably, in hindsight, took him off the road for life, I hope, because he shouldn't have been on it. He's clearly not meant to be driving at that age no more.
Yeah,
So we came all that way home. We drove in horrendous weather.
we did.
Well, hang
Yeah.
on, I drove in horrendous weather. We arrived in a flood of water and we laughed all weekend about it. I think my coat was still wet for 3 days. We came home in brilliant sunshine, which was lovely, but actually very dangerous that time of year on a motorway. And we get all the way back to drop Kelly home on the outskirts of Portsmouth, and I get pranged when I've got right away. That's actually, I think there's a reason for everything. And although we joke about it, from my previous accident, which was obviously a lot worse the year before, I'll take that one.
Mm.
I'm sure I
Well,
did
yeah,
swear. I'm
it
sure I
had
did
its
swear.
things. And yeah, I'm very much like that about travel, because I'll be like, if I get in a car, I'll say protection, protection, protection 3 times every single time.
Yes.
Living around the Portsmouth area, I mean, people drive like lunatics anyway, so you're dicing with your life.
Yeah, yeah, but it's funny because before I was, was developing spirituality, I wouldn't even have thought about protection at all, but it just really genuinely makes me feel safe. It just makes me feel safe. And if it makes me feel safe, it's worth doing it. And it knock-on effect with everybody else, it's so worth it. I mean, what about you two rituals, certain things that you two do?
My rituals are probably similar to yours, as in my rituals are because we do spirit release work and we do a lot of different work and heavy work. I will wake up and do that protection before I do any work. I'll do my protection. I'll check myself afterwards before I go to bed. I literally do myself, my family, my partner, my animals, literally in this protection at my home as well, because obviously I want my home to be clear, because I've got people walking through my home to get to the shed in the back garden, so literally I have this ritual, and it is a ritual, because if I woke up in the night, I'd realize I hadn't done it, and I'd be doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's how funny I am about it.
Yeah.
As in, do I have any other rituals apart from, like you said, like protection for the car or the people in it, that sort of thing. I don't really have any other rituals. That is my big one, but it does take up a lot of my day when I think of
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the same. I always did the protection as such in the early days of reading, but I didn't really understand it, if I was truthful. But yeah, our work now, I mean, as you know, I do a lot more different work, and I'm not really doing as many readings as I used to, because I'm doing obviously the spirit release, and I'm doing obviously teaching. So for me, the protection's heavier, and
Yeah.
from group, we obviously sometimes use a heavy protection prayer to make sure everyone's safe, because I think we've become more aware in the heavier work that we're doing that protection is important. However, I still have the mindset, because that's just the way I am, even if we forgot it,
Mm.
if we're doing our work right and with integrity, our guys are still taking care of us anyway. It just would be nice if we said it out to them so that they're aware we're actually asking for it. But I don't think we have to get to the point where if we didn't do it and we'd worry,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Yeah.
think they would take care. I think it's a bit different when me and Polly are doing our spirit release work, because as you know, that's pretty heavy when we go into trance, and that's why we work in pairs. In a reading, if I had forgot, which is, like you said, highly unlikely now anyway, or even if I didn't close down, because I might go after a reading, I might go and do a vitamin injection or something else. I close down later that day, but I have quite a good way of shutting myself down anyway now, because I had to learn, and I don't know if you had to do this, Pat. I had to learn how to shut down, not how
Yeah.
to open up.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to not keep walking around the shopping centre, or, being out and about socially and reading people's thoughts or reading them, and then having a few drinks in the pub, and then really getting lots of information, thinking, I need to just go out and enjoy myself here. So I had to flip it round and learn how to stop reading people and know when to switch off. And that's when I think the protection and the closing down became more apparent. So
Yeah.
are they rituals? Yeah. To people that don't believe in our spiritual path, they probably think we're crazy. and we are witchies doing witchy crafty things maybe, but we know in our work it's to actually also protect us and our energy and not bring some of that emotional stuff into our energy, because
Mm.
it's sad, some of the stuff we have to deal with. So yeah, ritual to us, but it's not really a ritual to others.
No,
It's
no.
certainly not a superstition thing.
Mm, mm.
It doesn't sit, I don't think, in the category of all those superstitions out there. I mean, when we were talking about earlier, doing the superstition, talking about superstitions, in a way, I kept getting the word premonition in my head. You know what I'm like when my telepathy starts over. So it's weird, isn't it? Because you were doing a premonition, and if anyone's watching don't know what that is, maybe you should Google it, because I think we all know what premonition is to a degree. Is the superstition again, those premonitions? If you had a premonition about something, and I had a friend that had this where she thought her plane was going to crash in New York, so she refused point blank to ever travel to New York.
Oh, okay.
She actually did go into emergency landing where she had to bend down, arms over her head and everything else. It wasn't in New York, but it was coming back across Atlantic. It was a big journey. I think she was coming back from Singapore, actually. So it was nowhere near New York, but she still said she would never go. Sadly, she passed just before my 50th birthday, so she's been gone quite a few years now. But I always found that funny. But
Yeah.
she superstitious in that way, that premonition that she felt, she was superstitious it was going to happen.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I know from readings that people, when we've reread for people that maybe have had a reading from someone else and they weren't happy for whatever reason, usually because they're not getting their answers, but sometimes because the reader hasn't been maybe, I don't
Very
know,
good.
as ethical, maybe. Anything else. We're not going to slag readers off on a live. You know, we know from that again things are said, and that reading gets deep into someone, and they start thinking it's something bad's going to happen, and that is a mixture of someone's giving you a premonition, say,
Yeah.
or addiction, and then that superstition's creeped in that's going to happen, and we know that you must not live your life from a tarot reading.
No, absolutely
Because
not.
things can change, because we can change anything. We
Yeah.
can make it change. Maybe not for the
And if somebody else is involved in that reading, say it was a love reading or a friendship reading or what have you, it's not just you that can change that outcome, it's the other person, because you can't change somebody else's actions.
Yes.
So in a way, that superstition does sit in with that, doesn't it? Because if you gave someone a reading where they really took every single detail to the 100% it's going to be right, that is a form of superstition, because if they didn't like some of that, I mean, well, I'd like to think the three of us don't give people that kind of really horrible negative information and deliver it in such an awful way
Well,
anyway.
I can honestly say that the reading that I had with Pat was so upbeat that I came out buzzing. I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
and I have to
what
say, the
life's
reading,
brilliant."
me and Pat swapped readings,
We
and the reading Pat gave me, I know it must have made sense at the time, but she was so energetic and so fun. I came out buzzing, but I can't remember what she told me. But I didn't care because I came out buzzing anyway. And it's funny because today someone asked me about readings and asked me about my psychic counselling, and thought that my psychic counselling is doing like tarot readings in a counselling way. Well, obviously I do read in a counselling way because of my counselling. But no, I said psychic counselling is actually counselling. It is soul level counselling. And the diploma says psychic, so I have to use that at the title. But it's a spiritual form of counselling. It's taking it out of the conventional world and using it more where you're more relaxed, going into the soul level and actually getting into the nitty gritty of someone without just taking off the layers because you've been conventionally trained. And I'm not knocking any professional counsellor out of there, but because I trained in that as well.
Mm.
But I think people, I said, do you know what? Maybe I need to rewrite up my stuff, because I don't obviously do a lot of that and you publicise stuff, and let people know it is counselling. It is it is still having counselling, but in a more spiritual way. It is
There's a
nothing to do with tarot reading.
there is a big call for psychic counselling, though, isn't it? Because it really helps people, I think, on
I
a whole.
think when I trained in it back in 2017, probably not. And now you can, it's called life counselling, spiritual counselling. The training was still the same about learning about the mind, which I had to do in normal training. But she was asking because she was thinking of doing it and she wanted to know if I was a teacher. And I went, no, because you actually are you get a diploma as a practitioner, and you are actually taught by a proper academy, not a one person
Uh,
teacher Rahani. This is actually an academy, like going to college, where you learn it.
Okay.
And I said, "Do you know what, though? She's opened my eyes up to the fact that I am a counsellor. Whether it's spiritual or not, I'm a counsellor. I counsel for lots of different subjects, but get into the soul. It has nothing to do with tarot. But that word psychic scares people. Again, superstition."
So I've got a thing for you, and I'm going to start this off with Pat, right? So we're talking about superstitions, and I reckon you could just sort of make half of it up. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
anyone will believe anything if they're like that, right?
Yeah.
So this was something I said to someone who is very superstitious. So I said, okay, I said, you know, you say this is bad luck and this is bad luck and this is bad luck, right? And I said, so if I picked up two stones from a beach and I had one in my left hand and I said, this one is really good luck, right? And I've got one in my right hand that's really bad luck, right? Well, I've just made that up in a second, right? So if I said to you, Pat, which one do you want?
Well, the funny thing is, Polly, is because you're saying if I said this to you, Pat, this is really good luck, this is really bad luck, because it is you,
You'd
Polly,
believe her.
I would believe, yeah, because it's like, well, she's like, you know what I mean? No, I would, because you're my friend. So it's very difficult when it's, if somebody I didn't know or whatever, or I knew loosely, said, look, this is really good, whatever. I'd be like, well, most of me would be like, well, what load of rubbish? It's a stone. It's just in one hand and it's in the other one. So I wouldn't really be led into it if it was just some, random person, somebody I didn't know well. But if it was somebody I really trusted, I would absolutely take the left, because I would be worried that if I didn't, I'd have bad luck.
Right. So this is what my thing was to them, right? Because I said, I could have just made that up, right? Literally just made that up. So
Yeah,
there's stones, right?
yeah,
That's like you just said, they're stones, right?
yeah,
Now, I could charge that to be good luck and give it to you, right?
yeah,
Which is something I might do for you because you're a nice person, right? But I could just as well, if I was a bit dark, put bad luck into that.
yes,
And even just saying it, giving the intention of this is a bad luck stone, right?
yeah, yes,
So, in a way, energetically, I do believe we can influence the luck of those
yeah,
stones. However, if I was just making it up, I'd tell you I'm just making it up. But even
mm,
if that somebody said that to me, like you just said, if I knew them, I'd be like, why are you doing that to me anyway? You know what I mean? If I knew them, I'd be thinking, why are you doing that? If I didn't know them, I wouldn't want either of the stones because I wouldn't trust them and I wouldn't want to go near them. I'd be like, take your stones off your pop, go and give it to someone else. You know what I mean?
And you don't even have to ask me that question, Polly, because you see now I react to people if I think that's a load of old rubbish. I don't
Yeah.
even give it the time of day. It's funny though, Pat, that you said that because it's Polly, you'd probably trust her, because clearly when we tell a group to disagree with us sometimes, we're not always right.
I mean,
But
and
yeah, isn't it
sometimes
funny how
in the
to trust
group,
somebody? But that's the thing. Don't we put a lot of trust in a lot of people?
mm,
the thing is with us, we would be honest. And that
yeah,
is the thing, is the fact that Pat or anyone else that sits in our development group
mm,
know that we are doing whatever we're doing to help them, to keep them safe and for the best intention. Whereas in no way on this planet would I bring something I felt was unlucky into the group anyway, because we'd have either had to clear it or we would
Well, yeah.
have,
We'd
you
have, we'd
know.
have to start working in trust. But that said, we've had that, haven't we, Polly? We've had people talk to us about items way before we did our spirit release work.
Mm.
We had people come to us about items that have been handed down the family, but that things had happened. And then even one of my old school friends had an item and things had happened. We'd sometimes don't even have to see it. We just get a feel of it and we go, oh no, get rid of that. I mean, you'll say throw right out at sea. And then I go, oh no, what if something happens to a boat or something at sea?
mm,
We have come across, haven't we, where there's been certain items or what they call conjunts. What do you call them? It's too late for me to be saying these long words. Like in The Conjuring, where they are channeling very bad energy. So why
mm,
would you
yeah,
want that in your house? Like the Annabelle doll. Or I remember a friend of mine was watching a video of a woman that sits up in her loft with all these really creepy. Do you remember me saying to you about all
Oh,
these
yes,
dolls?
dolls.
And she said she found it really fascinating. And what did I think? I didn't even, I don't think I had it on more than a second. And I went, I think that woman's absolutely raving lunatic, is what I
yeah,
actually thought. I said, and she is absolutely conjuring up lots of negative thought patterns and energies for everyone to watch her just so she can get a load of streaming.
yeah,
At the same time, it's going to attract people that are dark.
And
Yeah.
that's what I
A
said. I
lot
ready
of
to start
energy,
watching
it's
it.
not just her energy, then it's all the people in the chat's energy. Not some of them, I mean, some of them are just probably curious, so it could be younger ones that are a little bit, into that sort of thing and the occult. But, really what you are making out of that is just one big massive negative. So
Yeah.
anybody that watches that, you can have as much as people don't want to believe it,
Mm.
you can have a energy and it's something bad that's sorry, my dog's sitting on here. Something negatively energetic jump through a screen, right? And people don't realize that. If everything is energy, I could, if I was sitting here talking to two really sort of deep, messed up, you know,
Come in. Oh,
people, I could, that deal in the occult, as in I'm talking about really deep stuff or devil worship. I mean, who's to say that that energy cannot attach to me because I'm looking at you two in the screen now. Luckily, you two have got lovely energy. So I'm not worried about that. But I've turned off lives before because I'm really not liking the energy on it, not liking the energy of the person that's on it, and not liking the audience of the
don't say
people.
that, Polly, because we've probably had loads of people turn off from us.
No, we won't. We've protected you all.
Well,
We
you
got
talk about
nice energy.
don't you also find though, when you were saying about if people can, like with superstitions and everything, you think with certain people, there's certain people that's very like susceptible to, like influence of people, isn't there? Like you've only got to put that into their head and stuff like that, and they're very receptive for it and they really like take it on and then they worry about it and then they think about it and whatever, whereas you have other people that's very much black and white, no, that's a load of rubbish, move on and whatever. But I feel with superstitions, in particular, the people that's more, like I say, more, I don't know if, I don't know, more sensitive souls or whatever, but they can be almost a bit manipulated by it sometimes. And they can worry about things, can't they? You imagine going
Absolutely.
your life all the time. Oh, I can't walk under that ladder, or I can't do that. And somebody said this, and somebody said that. Eventually, I feel you just have to make your own mind up, don't you?
Absolutely. And it's the same with religions. I mean, religions, you are going to go to hell for this, or you're going to go to hell for that, or you're going to, wherever else you go. You know what I mean? But they don't live their lives because they're so concerned that they've got to believe in this, this, and this, because that's what's been drummed into their heads over a matter of years, whether that's early in their lives or some people that get pulled into cult situations. And
Yes.
these people are living in this groomed fear. I wouldn't, like we've said before about religion, it's up to people what they want to believe, as long as it's not hurting anyone else. I
Right.
couldn't care less what anybody else believes. But the concept of religion and fear is massive.
Yeah.
And, they worry about literally everything. Used to have a friend whose parents and family were Jehovah's Witness. And I remember her crying when it was thunder and lightning because she thought she was going to get struck down and go to hell. And she was a grown woman.
My good.
And I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
What? It's thunder and lightning. It's like a natural phenomenon, and unfortunately, you know what I mean? We can't do much about that. It's like rain coming out the sky, and it's like a snowy day. You know what I mean? It's weather.
My mum used to tell me it was God moving his furniture around.
Oh, really?
She's not even religious.
I mean, it was the clouds bashing
Yeah.
together.
So again, it's like old wives' tales, isn't it? Or things to calm the kids down. But that's the thing. It doesn't matter what your belief is
No.
spiritually. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It shows that fear is a massive, massive weapon. Lots of people have fears. Like I said earlier, I have a fear of spiders. Years ago, my fear of spiders was really bad. I'd just get up on the seat and go white and shake and feel awful. Now I actually remove them out of the house myself with a
Do
glass
you?
card. Yeah.
That.
I
Yeah,
can't do.
I can't kill them. I can't kill them because that makes me feel sick as well.
I don't
But
want to
when
kill
they're
them. I just don't.
if they're big, if they've come in with their own front door key, then no, someone else will have to. If they take their boots off, kick them to one side, and I've heard them come in, then we've got problems. Somebody else has to move them. Thankfully, I've got two older sons here now, so they can sort of. Well, one's actually not too good with him himself, but the other one don't mind. But I will ush it out somehow. But there was a time I was scared, and I've tried to make myself overcome it, but it's not my best. I'm still not my best with it. But wonder if that fear's come from something in my childhood or something that was said, or like you said, I could have watched something and it did it. So fear is a massive control of the human mind, and
Yeah.
fear is what's causing a lot of the problems in our country at the moment, well, in the world. Fear, people don't even have to do anything. They only have to put an assumption in your mind or put something out there that you fear may happen, and that's it. Suddenly you're, where someone more like us, we're a little bit more open-minded now, going, oh, I mean, apparently there's this massive storm going on at the moment as we're all.
We went walking to Tesco.
Well, yeah, I mean, the rain was bad earlier. I went and picked my
It was
grandson up from
horrendous, I've got to be
nursery.
honest.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like driving in it earlier on. Everyone drives like idiots at the moment. Half our roads are shut in Portsmouth at the moment, which is causing absolute gridlock. I picked Hudson up from nursery and drove back thinking, get me home before I kill somebody with my... because I was so angry with how everyone was. But yeah, the weather's bad. But to the alert that's gone out lately for all this weather, it's like, anyone would think we were literally going to be having some
Yeah.
kind of national disaster.
Yeah, they're saying red. Tonight there was like red warning. This has never happened. We have a red warning. I'm like,
I don't even think it's raining out there at the moment. And if it was windy, I'd know because my fan on my cooker hood would be going 10 to the dozen. But
Bins
that
haven't gone. The
fear,
bins
that
aren't doing
fear,
a rally down the road at the moment, so it's not that bad.
no,
yeah, but that fear that's been put out with that, so many people have talked about it today. Yeah, we've got to be careful. I mean, we know, again, Haylin's had a red alert for the flood, and we drive through that to go over to development group. That has been put out. I get that to a degree. That's low tide when we drive through anyway. But this fear of scaring people with these weather apps, I mean, I turn my alert off. I don't want to know. If we're going to,
I
something
haven't got.
massive to happen, don't
No.
tell me.
I've got no alerts on my phone. It's like
If something massive happens, someone else can tell me upstairs, and I'll know when my time's
I
up.
think it's horribly dangerous as well. Imagine going down the motorway and that going off. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Your car makes enough noises, Jane, that scare me. I don't need anything else.
That was my old car, and I did try to tell them there was something wrong with it, but yeah, that
Well,
was
I'm talking about the alerts, like when something's going
my
by
new
you.
car.
Or,
Yeah,
like,
so yeah. So that's fear, but that's caused me fear with my current injury on my good leg. Now I've got two legs that don't work. I've got a car that's got massive OCD. It wants to set off an alert, a warning, or throw the ABS locks on at the slightest risk of danger.
It's like
yeah.
you're going along the A27 or M27. It's like, beep, beep. I've said, what's that noise? She goes, no. Something came too
It's
close
a
to
car
me.
3 miles back.
I was like, why is it so loud? Why is
Oh,
it shouting at you?
honest. But you can turn it off daily, but it goes automatically back on. And I
Oh.
spoke to the company about it, and that's all new cars now because it's a safety mechanism. I went, safe. I said, it's going to end up putting me in well, to be honest, I'm going to probably pack in driving. I said, it's literally giving me anxiety.
Going back to the when we were coming back from the retreat and we was in your car, okay. Now I wasn't aware that that your car had these alerts on and it does all this sing dance and stuff. So I was busy in the back chatting away like I do. But I was very aware that sitting in the back, I kept sort of going like this and I kept going like that. And I was thinking, my God, is that James driving? And I was very much aware like that until you told me afterwards that
It's
it's a thing on your car that moves you to make sure you're in the lines, you see.
Technically, that could be my driving. But to be fair, that is annoying. Lewis drives my car quite a bit, and he takes it off every time he gets in it. But he
My
does
car
that
used to do it.
He doesn't want to indicate. So what happens if it thinks I'm going to move over a lane without indicating? It will automatically pull me back. And some of the older models did do that. But this is to the extreme. But I'm not indicating. I'm going round a bendy, curvy road. I have no intention to go over. But because the road's not straight, the car can't fathom it. But yeah, Lewis turns the indicator off so that he can just not indicate and move all over the place. That annoys me because indication is there for a reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, my driving's not that bad. You were all in it long enough.
Yeah.
It's annoying because I think I'm nowhere near going over the line. Will you stop pulling my steering wheel back? But it does. And that's what I
My
mean.
old car did it all the time, but my new one, you could just turn it off and on, which is great.
Yeah, see, because it's all software, I've got to unprogram it. But as soon as I park back up, it will go back on automatically. There is no turning it off. I mean, it is a brand new car. And when I asked, like I said, they've told me it's in all brand new cars now. So it's either suck it up. I said, I'd just rather drive a spaceship. But I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought, God, my driving's got bad. I know I've injured my bloody good leg, but this is ridiculous. But even they've parked it for me when I've had stress trying to get back into my space. They've even said, this is a nightmare. I went, tell me about it.
Okay.
I'd rather have my old car back, even though that got smashed up several times by people that couldn't drive properly. But yeah, happy days. Apparently, it's for safety. But I mean, again, that's a fear mechanism. It gives me an element of anxiety sometimes because I think a bike could be nowhere near me and it thinks I'm going to hit it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to think I'm a pretty good driver.
Well, you are. You are. It's everybody else.
Yeah, and I'd like to think I'm quite a sensible driver, and I've started to judge my own driving, and yeah. So it's weird, isn't it, what a fear mechanism can do to you? And you both know me, and you know that I'm not normally easily phased.
No.
So it is quite. But then, is it because I've got injuries that I'm obviously struggling with my mobility, and maybe that's adding to my anxiety?
Yes.
So who knows? But that car needs to stop. I mean, if it's that good, why don't it park itself? And then I wouldn't have a problem trying to get into tight spaces. Parking was never my forte because I've always had a drive. So not having a drive now is obviously a bit of a nightmare. And that's lazy parking. I've got used to lazy parking. But yeah.
I'm sure.
But anyway, on that note, have we got anything else we want to add to our superstition or our premonitions or our...
Covered quite a
I
lot.
just think, because we're going to have to wrap up in a sec, but I just think that everybody, you've just got to make your own minds up. Because at the end of the day, like my little thing about, if I give you a lucky stone or, oh, my dog, lucky stone or an unlucky stone, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you believe something, it's likely to make your mind think that it's going to happen. Like Jane said, fill you full of fear. And really, you've just got to live your life. And if you have done washing on New Year's Day, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect your life. It really isn't. And, it's a thing, isn't it? Anything could happen to anything and anyone at any time. And you've got to realise it's not because you put your washing in on a certain day.
And just quickly on that, let's just remind me of something, as we have a pending demo coming up in Portugal on the 30th of January. We have little quirky superstition rituals, though, don't we, for that? Because you hold a couple of balls, and I mean,
well, they are crystals. They're not just anybody's,
and
you know what I mean?
Once you didn't have them, and you went, "Oh, I haven't got my balls," and you panicked. And then I have always put a pink rose quartz in my bra. I went out one night and didn't do it, and then I had a bit of a mood on anyway, didn't I? I had to have a little cleanse and clear before I went on the stage. But I panicked because I didn't have it in it. And then I thought, that pink crystal is not going to make my demonstration information any different. Yeah. And your crystals in your hand don't make your information any different. Is it a comfort blanket?
Yeah, I'm going to say, it sounds like more like a comfort.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
To be honest, I like holding something because I'm a fiddler.
You like balls, don't you, Polly?
I like fiddling with my balls before I go on, and they're crystals and they're old and they're probably a little bit battered, but I still love them. And I just feel like they're part of my night, if that makes sense. They're part of my ritual. And we always do a little meditation somewhere, don't we? Or listen to some bizarre music before we go on stage.
We've got very strange rituals that we do before there, don't we? But it's only to lift our mood because sometimes the energy can be a little bit heavy and dense when we go in. But yes, anyone watching that is January the 30th.
Yeah. That's a Friday.
I believe it is.
Friday, the January the 30th at Porchester Community Centre.
And really, Jane, the techie lady, is going to put a link for Pat in the chat, because if you were interested in tarot readings with the lovely Pat Whitbourn. Also, if you'd like to come and join us on our demo, it's always lots of fun, our demos. And can't wait.
Yeah. When I share this out properly and put it on our YouTube channel, because we have a YouTube channel that this normally would go out on a Sunday, I will put your details in as well, Pat, so people can see it. And we've both had a reading with us, and we know she's good.
Oh, and thank you much. And thank you so much for having me on. I've had a great time. I feel we're just sitting around, just having a chat, you know.
Yeah, it's like that's all we do. No one listens to us.
We do it a lot, but we do it a lot or not on air as well.
Yeah, we do it we just like chatting. So but yes, thank you, Pat. It's lovely having you on, and we will say goodbye.
Yeah,
and we will see everyone soon.
Soon.
Take care.
Bye for now.
There we go.